Alright guys, this is Mithril, and today I'll be talking about all the brand new info that was released at PAX East for Borderlands 4, yes. Okay, so I'm going to do it in the order that they did at PAX. So the first thing I want to talk about is what happened to the fate of the Crimson Raiders. Basically, they split up and are searching the universe for Lilith. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So I guess they got some kind of lead, because why else would Amara, Zane, and Moxie be on Kairos? I mean, that makes sense, right? Some sort of lead they're all there looking for. I don't know. I don't know if the other Crimson Raiders will appear as the story goes on, or maybe Gearbox will have them appear in DLCs like they did in BL3. Then the next thing we need to talk about is the Timekeeper and how he's locked Kairos away for thousands of years because of the absolute order that he wants. I mean, he has worldwide propaganda going on, which could make the citizens of Kairos hate us. But who really knows, because there's also that rebellion or whatever is going on. Then the Timekeeper has outlawed vault hunting, so it sounds like he knew vaults were on Kairos, but he never did anything about them because of how messy it can get dealing with them. As you guys know, vaults are messy business, and a lot of unpredictable things can happen, and he likes order and stuff like that. And then he puts cybernetic implants into the spines of his citizens to control them should he need be. So basically the freedom they have is like animals in the zoo. They can move around and do some stuff, but those walls will always be there, you know, keeping them trapped, if that makes any sense. Then I want to talk about what happens when a trapped animal wants to break those walls. They usually do so, even if it means hurting themselves, because after Elpis crashed into the force field around Kairos, the citizens were able to see for the first time that there was something more than just Kairos, and someone for the first time ripped out that cybernetic implant. However, they did talk about removing the cybernetic implant can cause personality changes. So I wonder if there's going to be, like, I don't know, some guy we're helping, right? We're going back and forth, and then the Order finds him and re-puts in the implant or whatever, and his personality changes and whatnot. I don't know. That's just something to consider. Okay, let's get into some Vault Hunter action, and we'll talk about Vex, the Dark Siren, whatever that means. Also, I'm going to quickly mention I saw somewhere on a video that someone commented that Vex Siren powers could be Tyrene's due to the way her wings look like when Tyrene was in her destroyer form. So, I mean, that could be very possible, right? If you look at her wings, they do kind of look like Tyrene's at the end of BL3, when she absorbed the destroyer. Then the next thing we see is Vex's action skills, those being Incarnate, Deadringer, and Phase Familiar. Also, quick mention, if you look at the lower left corner of the screen where the level is, you can see it capped at 50, or maybe, just maybe, they leveled up, but I thought I should show this anyway. So yeah, level 50 I guess is going to be the cap, or like I just said, maybe they just leveled up. I don't know. Then we go on showing Rafa, and we're talking about how he's so charming and charismatic, and how even the enemies of the game have something to say, that he's just so charming. Now, they did talk about how he has energy blades, energy guns, shoulder cannons, so I don't know if those are going to be his action skills or what. But they also did talk about how he's the most agile Vault Hunter to date, so he has a lot of fluidity to his movement, I guess, his action skills, I don't know. He's just very fluid. Man, I'm doing dances and you guys can't even see. Let's see. Now, they didn't talk too much about Harlow, just that she's related to the Trance, which we already know, and that she's very smart. She has 5 PhDs. But they did potentially talk about some action skill stuff, where she shoots that disco ball of destruction and how she can lift her enemies and slam them to the ground. And then they did talk about how she has some like gadgets and stuff we haven't seen yet. So maybe that's going to be her third skill tree. Don't really know, just kind of winging it, going with the flow. And then finally, we're on to the big boy himself, Amon. And they did give us quite a few new details on him. First thing is he's apparently married, or was apparently married, because that vault monster that his cult release did kill her and everyone else they know. And they describe him to be a bard-barian, not a barbarian, a bard-barian. He's basically a poet warrior, and how he wants to turn his body into the ultimate weapon, so much so that he implanted forged drones, keep that in mind, into his spine and arm, so he could telepathically activate them. And man, he's got a lot of weapons. I mean, whew, he's got a lot. He's got a lot of stuff going for him. So far, he's got a sword we have not seen yet, axes, which we have seen to be cryo and fire, a giant hammer, a shield to protect himself. He's got a spear for some potential range combat, and a whip, I would imagine, that basically does the same thing, you know, more range. Then we go on to talk about the Sinless World and how it won't have any loading times, but, now big but here, my main concern is the optimization. Like Oblivion Remastered, fantastic game, just not really optimized. It works great going inside caves and buildings, but once you go outside, the FPS just tanks. So I hope for BL4 they really optimize it. But Randy, once again, Randy on Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it, said they are going for a targeted 60 FPS. Yeah, so take that as you will. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But, I would imagine they'd want to go for 120 instead, but maybe consoles are stuck to 60. I don't know how it works. But, I mean, 60 should be fine. But, yeah, I play my games at least 120. Okay, then something really cool is that BL4 will have dynamic weather. So that means 1 minute it could be raining, then boom, clear skies. Or maybe depending on the altitude, you could get hail. But they did say it wouldn't affect gameplay other than sight. So for example, if it's raining, shock weapons won't be doing more damage. Just basically, it obscures your vision, or you're able to see better. It just does that kind of stuff. Not really too much in the gameplay stuff. Then quickly skimming through this, Kairos will have multiple vaults, and they will be rerunnable. Vehicles can be spawned anywhere, and they will be customizable. No more minimap due to the size of the world and its verticality. But let's be honest, somebody, I don't know who, but somebody's gonna mod in a minimap. It's gonna happen sooner than later. I don't think it's really a big deal because I played games with just a compass like Oblivion and Skyrim and stuff, but that's neither here nor there. Let's see here. Echo 4, our brand new robot companion, will get sad if we die in Fight for Your Life. Just don't die, then he'll never get sad. We can use him to buy SDUs, and then we can talk to him to get mission rewards instead of having to talk to Lilith like 30 times like that guy said. Alright, now we're on to our weapon manufacturers in BL4. Those are Jacobs, Malawan, Vladov, Tedior, Torg, and the brand new Ripper, Daedalus, and Order weapons. However, unfortunately, Atlas, COV, and Hyperion will only be parts on your weapons and not manufacturers. Now, one thing I really thought was a little odd that it's COV and not Scav. Because, you know, on the pre-sequel, if you play it, they're Scavs. They're not bandits or COV, they're Scavs. But maybe because Tyrene and Troy were basically streamers, maybe the bandits of Elpis switched to being COV. I don't know. But yeah, that's just one thing I wanted to point out. Then Doll isn't on here, as you guys can see, because of how Kairos was locked away, but I don't know. Once again, that Scav COV thing doesn't make sense. Like, in the pre-sequel, we have Doll weapons, so on Elpis, there should be Doll weapons. So shouldn't the bandits of Elpis brought them down or something? I don't know. It's just weird that there's Jacobs and other manufacturers, just not Doll. But I guess it's not really the end of the world, because most of the time, Doll weapons were kind of underwhelming. So yeah, that's a Doll's fate. Then we get into something really cool, and that is the licensed part system, which, depending on which manufacturer parts are on your weapon, affects the behavior, but it also makes me worried about trying to get god rolls. Like, imagine, in BL3, okay, in BL3, you have the sickle, but the sickle isn't the best version. You want the boom sickle, right? Because it shoots explosive rounds and stuff. So what's if it's like that for the legendary weapons of BL4? What's if you need it specific? And I mean, like, I don't know, a Malawan legendary. No, you don't want Hyperion parts on this. You want all Malawan. Or you want a Malawan barrel, a Hyperion shield. You know, it just makes farming a little bit tough. But we'll go into that later on. Then crafting will not be in the game, and you'll have to be lucky with drops because the behaviors themselves have tiers going from common to legendaries. However, epics will have the most behaviors, while legendaries will have one less, but they will have their own unique behavior, which is understandable. That's pretty nice. And then also every gun could potentially be thrown like a Tediore, so if you get lucky enough, you'll be able to throw Jacob's weapons and have them explode. I mean, what is this, a BL2 mod pack? Crazy. A majority of these guns will also have underbarrels, and depending on the manufacturer, they will affect what they do. For example, Vladoff underbarrels will shoot micro rockets, while a Jacob's underbarrel will shoot micro rocket knives. Or if you have a Tediore port on a weapon with a Vladoff underbarrel, the weapon will continue to shoot micro rockets even after you throw it. That sounds pretty good. That sounds like good stuff right there. Now we're on to the enhancements. Enhancements are the replacement for artifacts from BL3, and they modify your playstyle depending what manufacturer you favor. Enhancements have an endgame system called firmware that further boosts your gear through set bonuses. If you guys can see right there, it says Airstrike 0 of 3. So if you get 3 of these bonuses on firmware, you'll get that airstrike ability, whatever it may be. And then, as was said in the state of play, heavy weapons and grenades are now given a new slot called Ordnance. That way you don't save all your ammo for that one moment, and it will allow you more freedom with them. But they do have a cooldown, and I do imagine the more devastating the weapon, the greater the cooldown. Shields also have been amped up, and a new type is called Armor, which is more combat focused and has the potential to recharge even further. Which honestly, pretty dang nice, right? That is pretty nice. That honestly should have been a thing a long time ago, but whatever. Whatever. Take a look at that skill tree. Man, is that a sight to see. And that's only one action skill. I say that because the background of it is green, and it looks to be for the Incarnate action skill. So that makes me wonder if 50 is actually the level cap, or maybe we'll get multiple skill points per level, because whew, that is a lot to go through. Like, that's a lot. And that's just one of them, like I said, so yeah. Going back to Vex, man, whew, they really like to show her off, don't they? They go on to show her Dead Ringer action skill, and it allows you to summon Reapers and Spectres. Reapers will taunt the enemies, which are the bluish-green ones, while the Spectres are the purple, and they are more damage focused. However, they are glass cannons. So yeah, they're pretty weak. They did give a little spoiler on one of her class mods that will allow you to pass on your gear to your Spectres, so watch out for that. That, you know, basically the capstone for Zane. I mean, it should make the game pretty fun. It seems Gearbox is finally listening to the community, because once again, rarity does matter. Legendaries apparently have legendary power because they are reducing the amount of legendaries in the game to actually make them be legendary, unlike how it felt in BL3. You guys understand, right? Kill one boss and you could get like 10 legendaries. One legendary they did spoil is called the Ruby's Grasp, which is dropped from this boss. Yeah, this big purple boss with a bunch of hands. And yes, dedicated drops are returning, and you know, they'll be in game at launch. So this is a major W by Gearbox. Thank you, Gearbox. You're actually listening. You can play co-op right away in BL4, but honestly, that's just how it should be in every game. I don't see why it would be like that otherwise. BL4 will have an in-game system similar to Bar and Guardian rank, and you will have to think carefully about your choices. I don't know if that means they're not going to be split between all your characters, or if only one character will have Bar if you only play that one character, or how it works. Then an important question that Randy had to answer was about the game's price, and Randy does not know what it could be. He talked about how BL4 was more than double BL3's production costs, which was around like 100,000 or something. So that plays a factor in it, and he talked about how he wants everyone to be able to play the game without breaking the bank. But for all we know, BL4 could be like an $80 game. Just think about it. It costs more than double, so 250,000. I don't know. Nintendo sells games for like $100 now. People could just follow the, you know, the train of thought. I don't know. It could be 60, it could be 80, it could be 50. I don't know. I don't know what they want to do. It's all up to the investors and stuff and how they want to see money. Then we do have a new element in the game called Ordinite. Now apparently Ordinite is the sister element to Iridium and apparently has the opposite effect. However, it is not a currency. Then it was said it can explode stuff. So if I could just throw out a little bit of a theory, if Ordinite has the opposite effect of Iridium, maybe instead of making things stronger, it makes them weaker. But that's just a theory. A game theory. a question was asked about item rarities, and Randy did kind of tease pearls. You know, he was like, gray, green, blue, purple, orange, put. So yeah, I don't know if that's a real thing or if that was a joke, but who knows? Maybe we'll be playing the game and we'll kill a boss, and what's that? A nice surprise of a pearlescent. And then another thing, which I kind of forgot to write down since I'm reading off a script and man, I kind of suck at it, is Invincibles will return at a later date. So I don't know if that's like DLC stuff or what, or maybe it's going to be like WoW and they'll do a raid event or something. I've never played WoW, so I don't know if that is like how it works, but yeah, maybe it will be an event. Brand new event of the month. Star Killer the Invincible, I don't know. And then the next month we'll have this Invincible, or who knows. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Man, hopefully my my reading off my script isn't too bad, because yeah, that's the first time I've ever done a script, and man, I am not good at it. But yeah, there you guys go. So if you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe, because of welcome on my channel, and because we'll appreciate it like always. And then I hope to see you guys next time. Away!